Hello, hello, YouTube. How is everyone out there? It is Astro Coach Sarah here for this new moon in Taurus and some other surprises. Not really surprises, but like stuff I haven't really talked about yet here on YouTube. Um, but yeah, so I've been a little MIA. I've also been MIA on pretty much every other platform. So it's not just you. Honestly, subscribe to my newsletter if you want actual stuff or, join the Awakening Spirit Collective. The links for both of those are below. But honestly, social media to me, including YouTube, feels like a very dry space these days. Um, I know I'm not the only creator that's feeling it, but for me personally, the lack of any kind of engagement or feedback is just really having me shift directions. That combined with the current astrology and things that I am up to with regards to getting ready to publish and things like that, like I don't want to send my book out there to dead air. I just don't. So I want to shift that for myself. So, if you've been waiting for your moment in time to comment on my video and at least say like, hi, this would be the time to do it. I'm not saying I'm leaving YouTube, but I'm definitely, shifting directions as far as like where I put my energy and trying not to leak it. I feel like social media peaked in 2020 and 2021, and it's now just like floundering, which was to be expected, right? And again, I'm not the only person experiencing this. I'm also not saying that I'm leaving YouTube. I am simply saying that, like, again, I don't want to release a book, a whole book that I've spent years in writing and, putting my energy into. I don't want to send that out there to people to, basically a like again, dead air audience. So I appreciate y'all for viewing my videos. I'm not saying I don't appreciate it. I'm saying that like the lack of engagement and feedback is actually affecting me, um, and affecting the reason that I want to make changes and shifts. So I'm going to be doing some in-person stuff, just like getting myself out there in the real world. Um, because I know that my work is valuable. I know that the work that I have done, the book that I have written is important, and will make a difference for people. However, like no matter what platform I put my work out on, I get nothing in no return on investment for the energy that I put into what I do. And I know that the energy that I put out there is important. Um, and I also feel like there's a difference between an in-person audience versus a virtual audience. And so, anyway, I'm not mad. I'm not annoyed. I'm not anything. I'm just simply paying attention to where my energy goes and where I might be leaking. I actually just reached out to a group that I do put energy into, like, hey, what are we doing? What's going on? So there are conversations that are being had within that community as well, just because, again, I'm just being extra attentive where my energy is going and what I'm putting my energy into. And maybe you're feeling the same way right now, and really being attentive to where your energy goes. And good, you should, right? So I think we all have to be very intentional and conscientious with our energy. So I have two things that I want to talk about in this video, one of which is the new moon in Taurus, but also like the kind of the state of the cosmos and what is building, because there is a grandiose transit that's building that's going to peak in July of this year. And when I tell you it is quite possibly the most supportive, magical transit we could experience, and that will come with that is all of the current fear mongering that we see in the world. Again, if I had subscribed to my newsletter, I'm not going to, I was originally going to do a newsletter about all of the different headlines and how they are astrologically aligned, because many of them are very astrologically aligned. But I'm really making an effort to not go down the fear monger rabbit hole. Um, because I don't want people to get stuck in the current fear-inducing headlines when really we can all shift and look at ourselves and make the changes necessary. There's enough shit going on in our own individual lives, probably, that is creating enough chaos to actually not really pay attention to what's going on in the world as far as headlines are concerned, so that we can be attentive to what we're actually up to. Aside from Pluto, all planets are direct and will be until June. Pluto's the only one retrograde, and unless you are somebody like me who happens to have things at 5 degrees of the fixed signs, uh, you probably aren't even noticing Pluto being in retrograde. I freaking noticed it because it's square my ascendant in Chiron. Um, and Uranus is barely off of the square to my sun. So I have fixed sign placements from 0 degrees Leo. I have fixed sign placements from 0 to 29 degrees of the fixed signs. Like I have something scattered in every sign, in every fixed sign. So whenever these planets move through a fixed sign, I feel it. And now I understand it. Before I understood astrology, like I was like, why the fuck? Now I get it. Now I get it. Um, so there's that. And so Pluto's the only planet in retrograde right now, which means Mercury's direct, Venus is direct for now, Mars is direct for now, but Mars and Venus are going to retrograde later this year. And so that'll kind of put a crimp in situations. But for now, they're direct. Mercury will go retrograde, I believe, in June, end of June, I want to say, and that'll be in Cancer. So if you're a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, you're probably going to feel every Mercury retrograde this year. Particularly even if you have not only just a sun and a moon or a rising in a water sign, but if you have a Mercury in a water sign, also I do. Um, so if those are the case, then you're gonna, feel that. But that kind of leaves us all in because right, we have all 12 zodiac signs in our birth charts, right? In fact, while I'm thinking about it, let me remind you that if you go down below, there is a video, sun and rising sign forecast 2025 to 2028. I actually just went back and rewatched that video last night. I highly recommend it because I was fucking on point, and I recorded that video. Today is May 10th that I'm filming this. I recorded that video, I think on May 19th of last year, 2025. And y'all, on May 19th of 2025, I was had things in place to get moved, but the thought of it actually happening in 2025 was not on the radar. And it happened at the end of 2025. And so my forecasts were retardedly, like ridiculously, I was very proud of myself for going back and looking at a 1-year-old video that I did for, the next 3 years. And damn, I was good. Okay, there was probably more I could have done, but I at least, and oddly enough, I think I was wearing the same jacket and tank combo in that video as I am in this video. That's just coincidence. But anyway, so go back and watch that video. It's linked below because I'm going to be talking about that video is connected to the transit that I'm going to talk about that happens in July. And yes, I know it's May, but this thing is building already as we come up to this Taurus new moon, which is on May 16th. Um, so all planets direct, moon's exalted in Taurus, but it's a dark moon. I don't know that that's, we kind of have to take what we can get as far as the good energies right now because the world seems so yucky. But so here's what I'll say. Every time we have the possibility of some of the most magnificent, beautiful transits in the cosmos is when we see the wildest, weirdest shit in the world, right? It's when we see the craziest shit in the world. It's when you are that close to a breakthrough that you're going to feel the most like discomfort mentally, emotionally, maybe even physically. So as we get close to this transit coming up in July and even this new moon in Taurus, what is Taurus? Taurus is resources, it's food, it's comforts, it's the bull is very slow going, but it does get going, right? But it is slow. But you're thinking about resources and whatnot. And I can tell you right now, starting in June of this year and definitely into mid next year, 2027, and certainly by 2028, we're going to have we'll have Chiron moving into Taurus, and then eventually we'll have Saturn moving into Taurus. So our resources are going to get more and more limited. And this is going to really bring about a lot of scarcity for a lot of people. I feel like there's two things that are going to happen in the next, coming months is you're going to have people in scarcity mode who are freaking out over gas prices, freaking out over food prices, freaking out over shortages, freaking out over this, freaking out over that. And then you're going to have people that are going to piss them off because they're going to thrive through this like nothing's going on. And that was something similar that we saw in 2020 as well, that some people suffered and we're in scarcity mode through 2020, and here we are again. And do I think we're going to go through the same thing like we did in 2020? No, I don't. I don't, because Uranus is now in Gemini, Pluto's in Aquarius. These two signs want truth. They like authenticity. They are going to find the information that's truthful, that's authentic. So I don't see, if anything, people are going to self-isolate with Saturn and Aries, more than I think that there will be any kind of, you know, lockdowns, or I just don't see it happening. I really just don't see it happening. I think enough people are going to seek out all the information because conspiracy theories are no longer conspiracy theories because they've all been debunked. So, um, I also think a lot of people are standing their ground. I mean, if we're in 2026, it means you made it through 2020, 2021, and 2022. And, maybe that was like the worst time for you. Maybe it wasn't. It wasn't the worst time for me, but it was definitely tricky. And I definitely feel like what I went through between 2020 and 2022 certainly gave me a leg up to be like, I can fucking get through anything after having made it through that. So, I think the reality is that we're definitely going to see shifts and changes in our resources, in our resource systems, in how things are presented resourcefully or whatnot. But I think that there's going to be groups of people who suffer through that and who think that it is the worst thing ever. We're already seeing that with the changes in like SNAP and EBT communities, right? We're already seeing that with people losing out on their Section 8 public housing and whatnot, and people are freaking out over that. So we're already seeing it. It may not be directly affecting you, but it is definitely happening. Um, and so I think that as that trickles down or trickles up, however you'd like to look at that, I think that we are going to see people feel like they are suffering, but is there really limited resources, or do they just not know how to cook rice or cook dry beans, versus getting canned beans or like the minute rice or whatever, right? So same thing with like baked goods, right? Is it really that there's no cupcakes, or is it that you don't know how to make cupcakes, right? From scratch. So I feel like that's kind of how it's going to go. It's like people who can adjust and who can adapt are going to thrive and be fine. And this is how it goes. Or they're going to just be like, I don't really need the cupcakes, but here we are. So anyway, my point here is that I think that it is important to look around your community, your neighborhood, your living situation, your ability to get out and say hi to your neighbor, to connect with your neighbor, or your local butcher shop, or your local farm stand, or your local farmers market. Are you able to, go do those things? If not, that may be a place to look, right? I frankly have been able to do way more since I've moved than I would have if I would have stayed where I previously was, because my resources were much more limited. Case in point, I have lost weight since I've been where I'm at now. And when I tell you I'm replacing my entire wardrobe, like I'm replacing my entire wardrobe because things just don't fit anymore. And it's good that I have the resources, both transit wise and otherwise, to, go get clothes, to go try on clothes, to, not really have to leave my town in order to go to the store to try on clothes. So, all that to say, I think this is very much about perspective. And I think that there are people who are going to have the perspective of this fucking sucks. This is bullshit. I don't have the resources I need, despite the fact that astrologers have been encouraging people for the last 5 years, to get where you need to get so that you have the support that you need in the community that you need. Well, here we friggin' are. Recently, I had a friend tell me it's not if, it's when. I think we're at the when, okay? So, anyway, all of that is not to fearmonger or anything like that. All of that is to say that, like, our how we do life is changing extremely rapidly. It's going to continue to change extremely rapidly. We have a couple of big transits that are building that are going to instigate and bring about massive change in our world. And remember, in the coaching community, we always say in order to have something new, you have to clear the space for that new thing. And we are in the clearing the space part of things. Unfortunately, what's clearing people don't like because they've attached to it or they're codependent on it or however that might look, right? So, lots of different ways you could look at the energy. I am going to pull up a couple of charts and I'll talk about a couple of other things within the charts and we'll go from there. But anyway, so the new moon, and we're going to talk about the transit coming up in July. So let me pull up charts and we'll see what's going on. Alrighty, so this Taurus new moon peaks on May 16th at 3 p.m. It's at the top of the chart there. It's at 25 degrees of Taurus. We will have also just had like the day or so ahead of this is the superior Mercury cazimi in order Mercury conjunct the sun in Taurus. So um, a Mercury cazimi in Taurus after the Mercury retrograde we had back in February into March. That's what this cazimi is wrapping up, but it's happening in Taurus right ahead. The moon will be dark at the point of that cazimi because it'll be probably on the 14th or 15th is my guess without looking. Um, but in Taurus, with a new moon in Taurus, again, this is really having us, this chart's also a Virgo rising chart with the South Node in Virgo. That's a lot of earth energy, actually, but not really because it's actually kind of an invitation to evaluate what you don't need. We could really still see a lot of people like downsizing and decluttering, or just kind of like getting really clear, like, do you need 9 pairs of shoes or can you get away with six? Can you get away with, just having a capsule wardrobe, my friend and I were just talking about, versus having all kinds of, unique pieces? Do you need, I just recently had a friend come and visit and he's like, how do you cook a meal? Because literally all I own for stovetop cookware is a cast iron skillet and an Instapot. That's all I have. I have various baking dishes though for like muffins and sheet pans and those kinds of things and casserole dishes. I have all of those so I can definitely cook in the oven. But as far as stovetop stuff, I just have a cast iron skillet and a Instapot. So, um, but like, do you need all of those things? Do you need 900 pots and pans? Do you need all of the plasticware? Um, you know, very quickly here, we're really going to have some transits coming up that are really going to invite us to take a look at how we treat our planet, how we, connect with Earth, connect with the plants and whatnot. And this could also be something like that, where you really are paying attention to what you're eating, what you're drinking, right? Um, what you consume. what you digest and things like that. So this could also be money, obviously, because it's Taurus, money related. But really, I think it's a matter of looking at your resources because I think this is going to kind of be the tipping point of people who are going to be fully in thriving in abundance through the next transits or people who are in absolute scarcity mode, freaking out that there's going to be another this, that, or the other thing, right? I could go down the punch list of things that look like they're going to be on the horizon. They don't have to be. Um, this is definitely one of those you're going to see the line of contrast between the folks who get it, who know what's coming. I mean, I don't know. I've been feeling this for a long time. Something's shifting. Like okay, I'm going to talk about this one. The FIFA World Cup is coming to the United States, and there's various places where this FIFA World Cup, I don't know a fucking thing about soccer. But obviously it's one of the biggest sports in the world outside the United States. Um, and so it was coming across my feed that apparently we were going to have a bunch of tourists coming in to the United States in New York, New Jersey, in Kansas City, in Houston, Texas, in Orlando, Florida. I think those are the only four stadiums in the US. Okay, so these soccer tournaments are going to be mid-June through mid-July, and meaning that they're going to be around July 4th. And apparently, one of the stadiums is not like accessible on foot. It's surrounded by highways. Um, and so, there's all these Americans making fun of these Europeans who think they're going to walk to this stadium. And I think it's interesting that Americans have a very strange way of looking at different things because what an opportunity in these four areas where these soccer games, like this is a huge touristy thing, right? The Soccer World Cup, because again, soccer is one of the biggest sports in the world outside of the US. I know it's growing in the US, but it's still bigger outside the US, I believe, than it is in the US. Um, because to me, I see this as like, what an opportunity to, no, we're to welcome these, you know, people who want to see these soccer teams play. No, we're looking at them like they're dumbasses because they're going to try and walk to this stadium. But also, why is that game being hosted at that stadium? But anyway, like, why is a game that is attracting tourists at a place that's so untouristy friendly? But that's a whole different conversation, I feel like. But I feel like this is a conversation of like, the US really taking a look at their infrastructure and things like that. Where can we be more welcoming? Where can we be more inviting to our allies, our friends, our neighbors, right? And you can do that with boundaries, right? I don't get really close to people in the building that I live, but I mean I'm pleasant to them. I'm gonna hold the door for people. I'm gonna say hi to people, you know, that kind of thing. So yeah, but like I don't want to be completely like antisocial and never say hi to them or never go, try to carry on conversations with them, the people in my building. I think that's important. I think it's important to have community, right? My mom lives in a community apartment building. And when I tell you she's busy all the time because those people in her building meet up almost every other day and play cards till all hours because why not? They play cards, they play mahjong, they all of the things, right? And she loves it. So I think that's what I'm saying here is like really look around. Are you involved in your community? Yes, I could definitely jump on my high horse of people getting involved in the community because there's a lot of organizations that are dwindling away because of people's lack of involvement in their community. But you probably heard me rant that before. I'll spare you. The point is for this Taurus new moon, however, is to really look at your resources. Do you have what you need? Are there adjustments that you need to make? And and what are the adjustments you can make in the here and now versus like in the short term future. Um, and in this chart, you can also see if you look over, let's see, on the lower right, you got Pluto retrograde at 5 degrees. If we go up from there, you've got Neptune at 3, Saturn's at 10 Aries. This also comes with a Chiron Mars conjunction in Aries. I forgot to mention that. That Chiron Mars conjunction, I feel like is going to really activate. Chiron's headed towards Taurus in the next month or so. So I think that's important. Those of us who were born after 1978 and probably around 1984, maybe, are about to have our Chiron returns. So yay for us. That means we're getting close to 50, you guys. So well, yeah, shit. Um, um, But Chiron coming into Taurus mid-June of this year for about 3, 4 months. He'll be in Taurus, but I mean this is why I'm saying like this new moon's kind of important because prior to Chiron coming into Taurus, it's like really like where are you thriving? Where are you in scarcity? And what can you do to shift the trajectory for yourself so that you can thrive? And sometimes it's a mindset game. Other times it's I need to create some money or I need to create a relationship so that I have the resources to get to, the produce stand, the food pantry, the farmer's market, the butcher shop, et cetera, et cetera. So different ways that you can look at and evaluate this new moon. Of course, this is our first lunation without no, it's not. We had a full moon in Scorpio, but it is our first new moon in Taurus without Uranus in Taurus since like 2018. Um, so this kind of could be a cleanup act. Like you don't have Uranus there in Taurus. So if you are of the fixed signs, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, you're finally getting a new moon that's actually going to be new that you can actually like, set some intentions around for newness and Uranus isn't there to disrupt things. That could be a good thing. That could be a good thing. Um, okay, so that's the new moon, May 16th. Um, Again, Mars conjunct Chiron in Aries. This is probably the last time they will conjunct in Aries because Chiron's going to move into Taurus. So it's kind of and on the same day as this new moon in Taurus. So there is kind of this opportunity to I feel like as that moon is headed towards, the 14th, 15th, we'll have that Mercury cazimi in Taurus, but we're also going to have that moon move through that conjunction of Chiron and Mars in Aries. And as a balsamic darkening moon at that, I feel like the middle part of May could really be whatever you whatever you, how do I word this? Have not allowed to close, the universe is going to close it for you. And it, this is not to sound like a threat, but if you keep pushing that door back open, like I don't even think you can. I feel like this is going to be one of those, the door's closed, end of story. You have to move forward. And I was saying something to a colleague of mine just a little bit ago before I started recording this video, but I feel like a lot of us are at a crossroads. We are at the cliff jump that looks like we are about to jump over the Grand Canyon because we think it's so big and huge and all of the things, when really it's a puddle jump. But it's a puddle jump that's going to change the whole trajectory of our lives, right? Like I was talking about doing in-person workshops. I have friends who have relationships that are ending. I have other friends who, are just struggling with various things, work-wise, career-wise, relationship-wise, whatever, health-wise even. So I feel like this Chiron conjunct Mars, or I should say Mars conjunct Chiron, the Mercury cazimi, that's probably going to be, let's actually go back. Let's see. Let's go back a day and see what's going on the 15th. If we go back a day, oops, I think I went forward a day. My bad. My bad. Um, okay, so the 15th is Mars is moving in on the conjunction. There's the cazimi. So the cazimi is on the 14th. May Thursday the 14th is the cazimi. Mars is within 2 degrees of Chiron. The moon is, oh, see, yeah, that's what I was wondering where that moon was. So the 14th, you have the moon Mars conjunct at 26 Aries, heading towards that conjunction to Chiron at 28 Aries. Mercury is conjunct the sun, cazimi in Taurus. And then we have that Taurus new moon. I actually really love this. It's almost like the moon, the darkening moon is like and then that Mars conjunct Chiron for like the last time in Aries in our lifetimes because Chiron has a 50-year orbit. Um I'd say around the 14th, 15th, 16th, maybe even the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, especially if you have planets or points in the latter degrees of fixed signs or cardinal signs, uh, and or maybe even earth and fire signs. Um, Doors are closing. You've cleared the energy, you've healed shit, you're ready to go to the next big thing and you're the only goddamn thing in your way of getting to the next big thing. And it looks like you're at a crossroads. It looks like you're about to jump off the cliff. And the cliff looks like it heads into the abyss, but it doesn't. It's a puddle jump. But your perception is skewed, probably because the world looks so scary that it looks like you are headed into the abyss. But you're not. You're doing a puddle jump. It's just scary. It's just scary. Um, okay. Let me switch charts really quick. Let's see. Here we go. So this chart, I'm kind of jumping ahead a month or two because I want to show you this. This is something that I've talked about over on the Awakening Spirit Collective. If you listen to other astrologers, they're probably also talking about this transit. This chart specifically is for July 18th of this year, but this transit is already building. Um, so let's take a look at this chart. I think I can zoom this in for y'all to see it. Okay. Okay, good. So if we look, oh, there we go. We got Neptune at 4. Okay. We've got Uranus over on the right-hand corner at 4. And we got Jupiter at 4. And opposite that, we got Pluto at 4. Not only that, but we have Saturn at 14 and we have Mars at 14 Gemini. So number one, that's a lot of numbers. Some numerologist is going to explain why the fours matter, but fours are usually pretty magical, I feel like. So what you see here in my drawing, my very bad drawing, I'm so sorry. But the red line is the opposition of Pluto, Jupiter opposite Pluto. The blue lines, which look really sloppy, but if you kind of look, it looks like a cradle. It's a supportive trine sextile configuration. Okay, this is very harmonious, very beautiful. It's all at 4 degrees. You've got Pluto trining Uranus, you've got Jupiter trining Neptune, you've got Neptune sextile Pluto, Neptune sextile Uranus, and then you have um, Mars sextile Saturn. And they're all kind of forming this crisscross shape, almost like a hammock. Can I say the word? Hammock. Um, Almost like a hammock. And this configuration is pretty much going to be in play the entirety of July. There's going to be other things happening. July 4th is the Mars-Uranus conjunction in Gemini for the first time. That could be really interesting because that's right around the time of that World Cup situation. But I Mars and Sat Mar yeah, I'll get it right. Mars and Uranus do bring about craziness because they both have that sort of abrupt sense about themselves, and they're in Gemini. Um, but this could be, a beautiful thing with all these sextiles and trines going on. My point is the entirety of the month of July is the most spectacular transit of just, it's a gift transit. It's beautiful. The things I would say are cautionary is it's so beautiful and it's such a hammock that you're going to lay down and take a nap. I would say use it. It's also a fire trine, an air trine. It's good energy to really momentum yourself forward or motivate yourself forward. You probably aren't going to need a lot of discipline. You're either going to feel it or you're not. Um, but this would be, I feel like too, this could mean a lot of people's clairs. I don't know about y'all, but my psychic senses have been bonkers lately. Bonkers. Like I've had to literally intentionally practice grounding to get the energy to calm down because I'm so buzzy. Um, all good, but intentionally practicing grounding. Yes, it's been a lot of essential oils and yoga and it's like laying and sound healing. And good news is it's helped me finish writing my book. So there's that. Um, Anyway, I fucking love this transit. I was listening to Pam Gregory earlier, and she pointed out that we have a second dose of this in June of 2027 at 6 degrees, but let's focus on this one. The other thing that I do want to point out is, and maybe I'm going to switch back to here. Um, Because the other thing I wanted to point out, I think that it happens on early June. Um, but you can see it's already passed by the time we get to July. But we have the nodes, and this is the new moon chart. We have the nodes at 5 degrees, Virgo South Node, 5 degrees, Pisces North Node, and Uranus is at, where's Uranus? 1 degree of Gemini. In the month, in the weeks ahead, Uranus will start to square the nodes. I want to say it happens either at the end of May or early June. I can't remember off the top of my head. But um, so we're heading into, once we have this new moon in Taurus on the 16th, we're really heading into some very beautiful, intense, but beautiful change energy that can really support us. Again, the thing I would caution you on is getting too lazy because it's a trine and it's pretty and it's lovely and you're just going to want to chill in the hammock. Um, but also go back and watch those sun and rising sign video that I posted last year because I feel like that could give you a little supportive guidance. Lock. Um, so go back and watch that. Watch your rising sign, then watch your sun sign. So, all right, let's do some tarot for the new moon. We got I got the hiccups all of a sudden. So hold on. Let me deal with the hiccups. Okay. Hopefully that took care of that. Um, but yeah, check out your rising sign and then your sun sign. You can also book with me. I'm also working on some in-person stuff. So if you happen to be in the Midwest, um, definitely get on my newsletter email list so that, and when I do have in-person events, and you happen to live in the Midwest or can get to the Midwest, um, I think there was a part of me that really thought that if I like wrote a book and quote unquote made it as an astrologer, that I would get the attention of the astrologers that I have followed for years in other states like Colorado, California, and the like. Um, and then it suddenly, as Pluto was coming into this square to my ascendant, it suddenly occurred to me that like that's not where you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be in the Midwest, helping people in the Midwest. And because if you don't know, I hate the Midwest. I don't hate the Midwest. I actually think there's great things about the Midwest. Um, but I think that I feel better now that I live in a different place and, I have a little bit more freedom to move about. Um, so I think that's making my disdain for the Midwest a little easier to palate. And I have like better support where I'm at now. And I didn't have that years ago. So, yeah. I just think, and funny enough, I had said to Scorpio risings a year ago that if your home life is supportive, everything else will fall into place. Oh, and I moved and I'm in a more supportive home situation. Fucking astrology, man. Hey, let's see what we got. For the tarot. Mm-mm-mm. Um, what is this? Five, six of pentacles. Uh, Six of pentacles in reverse. So, without having to look up what the dang card means, is he giving Six of Pentacles in reverse? Hold on, I gotta find my cheat sheet, my tarot cheat sheet. Sorry, but I need it. That's if I can find it. I haven't used it in a minute. Tarot 101. All right. I actually really wish somebody would do a tarot quick reference guide in Braille because that would be that'd be freaking cool. Maybe I'm gonna talk to, I know somebody who transcribes tarot cards into Braille. Maybe I'm gonna reach out to her um and see Six of Pentacles in reverse. Um need to needs to ask for help or help someone else. Okay, that's kind of what I was getting. Um, finances imbalanced, debt, needs to loan out. Oh, loan not approved. Okay, so yeah. Um, So Six of Pentacles in reverse, needing to ask for help because that's what I was hoping that I was seeing, but I couldn't quite see it. But it looked like he was. like handing things out. But if it's in reverse, it's you needing to ask for support. Again, this is a new moon in Taurus. This is resources. This is if you need help, you need to ask for it. Okay. Um, this is you needing to get where you need to get so that you can get the support and the resources that you need. Okay. I can't make that up. Let's see what else we got in the tarot. Hold on, let me shift my app, my camera. We also got the Two of Pentacles upright. Hmm. Well, I mean, this points to that crossroads I was just talking about. And you know the choice that you need to make. I don't think there's much debate. I think it's just a matter of some people are, drag their feet or drag their ass when they know the choice they need to make. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you we're getting to that point where the universe is going to choose for you, and you may not like it because it may make you take actions you don't feel like you're ready to take. But the thing is, the universe knows you're fucking ready, and the universe knows that you need help and support in any kind of unique way. Because I know I have disabled people who watch my content. The universe is help guiding you, and you're just like, no, I'm not gonna because they said I should, so I'm not gonna. Problem is that the universe has a fun little way of slamming doors in your fucking face it's time for you to make that choice. So stop fighting. Stop fighting. What's prepared for you? What's ready for you? Stop resisting. Stop putting up your fucking like invisible your resistance cloak. Now is not the time for your resistance. Now is the time for your armor, for you to step into the next thing. I feel like by the time we get to the Uranus square the nodes, that's going to be an interesting. And then by the time we get to July for sure, but you can amp yourself up for July by um really taking responsibility with this new moon in Taurus. All right. And this is the I always get it wrong, ancient guides, ancient ancestors. I can't remember what it's called deck, but I really like this deck. We got the snake. Um yeah, shed out old skin. Yeah, I can't make that up. You've got the Two of Pentacles upright. You've got, this choice, but you just need to shed off the old resistant skin. So if you're surrounding yourself with that reverse magnet type skin, you're not letting the good things in, and it's time to shed that skin, and time to move in a different direction. And then we also got is that a seal? I thought seal was spelled a different way. I thought it was spelled Seeeal. But that's um it says beyond the current simulation. Is that seer? Oh shit, that might be seer now that I see that. Beyond the current simulation. Um yeah. So I kind of don't have anything to add. Because if you know, you know. And if you don't know, I don't know that I can explain it to you in a YouTube video. Um, so what I will say is go watch The Matrix, like it is a documentary about humanity. That's maybe all I have to say. But basically the point is that your life is your own simulation and you are in charge of the simulation, but also got to remember that there's always a dungeon master in charge of the gameplay, right? I keep seeing the book Ready Player One. Maybe I need to fucking read it. That needs to probably be on my TBR, but I'm in the middle of Dungeon Crawler Carl. Anyway, um, but anyway, the point is here is that yes, you are in charge of your simulation, but if you're not willing to take the fucking reins and the captain's chair or the dungeon master chair, then you've got somebody else in charge who's happy to take the reins, who's happy to take your captain's chair and tell you that you need to go do what you need to do, right? And what this is saying is that it's the current simulation, but you can change the simulation. So think about if you've ever played D&D, which I have not, but I've watched people play D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. They they go through these different like uh I don't know what they're called. They're not levels, but like different, oh, campaigns. That's what they're called. Campaigns. And each campaign, they're like a different character, right? That's why it's an RPG role-playing game. And so, but each campaign is like a different type of world. It's a different simulation, right? So you can play different types of characters within different worlds. Think about yourself like a character in the game. You can choose how the character gets played in the game. You're looking at the current simulation, but the seer is saying, as well as the what was the other one? The snake, like shedding your skin. You can change your avatar. You can change your skin, right? That's what it's called when you change like the app, the way an app icon looks on your phone or your laptop. You can change the skin of it. You can change the skin of how yes, I know this is a sighted thing, but even from a blindness perspective, you can change how something feels tactily by putting different shapes of something or different textures of fabric or dots or whatever on different things, right? So you can change the simulation and you're looking at the current simulation as if it is the end all be all. And this is saying shed the old skin, make the choice, Two of Pentacles upright, right? You know that you need special kind of help. Oh shit. Sorry, my bad. There we go. That's the card I wanted. Um, you know you need special kind of help, right? Go get the help you need. Two of Pentacles, Six of Pentacles in reverse, Two of Pentacles upright. You know the choice you need to make. You need to shed the skin because you need to stop looking at the current simulation as if it is the next level of the simulation because it's not. That's this Taurus new moon. What you think it looks like right now is not what it's going to look like even in 6 weeks from now. I promise you. All right, that's all I got. Check out links below for the newsletter, the Awakening Spirit Collective, the 2025 to 28 Sun and Rising Sign forecast. There's also links to book with me if you're wanting to work with me. But sign up for my newsletter. That's where all of the info is coming out about how to get coaching, to get in person and stuff like that. And yeah, book is on its way soon. Writing is almost done, so be on the lookout for that. I'll talk to y'all next time. Take care.